Everything's flipped.
It's looking at you. Hello, everyone. My name is Christan Allen. I work for the Dixon Gallery and Gardens. I am so excited to be here with you tonight making a live art project. So tonight we're going to be making planet suncatchers, and they're going to look a little something like this. So if you'd like to make with me, here's what you're going to need. You're going to need some wax paper. Now, if you don't have wax paper, you can use parchment paper too, but you want a paper that's oven safe because we're going to be heating it up. You're also going to need some crayons. So your crayons can be old, broken crayons, these little nubs that nobody knows what to do with. This is a great project to recycle them and turn them into something beautiful. So grab some little crayon nubbies. And then the last thing you'll need will be an iron. So this is a project that you're going to want a grown-up for, so make sure that you have an adult close by, and when we get to this ironing part, we don't want anyone to get burned. Okay, so that's really all you need. A pair of scissors is great too, so that you can cut it into a circle and make it a planet shape, but that's all you need for the suncatcher part. But you know, I like to jazz things up a bit, give it a little, solar flair, if you will. So if you want to do a frame, you can grab a paper plate. If you have some old scrap paper, that's great too for making things like stars, but you can just draw on it with crayons or markers. And then you're going to grab a string. And if you have a hole puncher, great. But if you don't, you can just use a pencil. We'll poke a hole at the top and we'll make a little place to hang it so you can actually hang it in your window and let the light shine through. Okay, so I'm going to give you about 1 minute to grab some supplies just in case you don't have them ready. If you don't remember all those supplies, no worries. I have a list for you. But we're going to meet back here in about 1 minute and we're going to start making. I can't wait. See you guys soon. So y'all, we just realized that the words are flipped on that list. So we made your brain work a little extra hard trying to read it backwards. But hopefully you were here for whenever I was telling you guys about the supplies and you've got everything you need. Sometimes you just got to roll with it, right? But we're going to go ahead and get started. So to make our planet, you're going to start with some wax paper. Now you don't need very much, especially if you are going to be using that paper plate frame. So I'm just going to tear a little bit off right here, okay? Now, if you're using that paper plate like we talked about earlier, you don't need that much. And as you can see, mine is too big. So I know when I start actually getting my crayon shavings, then I just don't need to fill up the whole piece. I can just do it in the middle. Now, something that I did forget to mention that you'll need is either a pencil sharpener or like a butter knife. So you can use either a plastic butter knife or a real one if you don't care about the wax getting on it, but something to shave your crayons, and we're going to put them on the wax paper. So I've got my little crayons here. And you can decide whatever colors you want to use for your planet. So you might think about the planet, the way they actually look. So like if you were doing Mars, you might do reds and oranges. Or if you were doing Neptune, you might do like blues and purples. But see if you can guess what kind of planet I'm going to make today. And I'll give you a hint. It's one that you probably know very well. All right, so I've got my little pencil sharpener here, and I'm just going to open it up so that I can actually catch all the shavings right here on my wax paper. Now, I find this really satisfying to actually just shave my crayons with a pencil sharpener. They get really pointy. It's kind of fun to watch. But if you don't have a pencil sharpener, no worries. You can do the same thing, but just using a butter knife. Okay, so I have this plastic one. It'll work too, and I'm just gonna shave little pieces of crayon right onto the wax paper like this, just kind of going back and forth. Okay, now as you can see, this takes a little bit longer, but it gets the job done. And if you have an old one that you don't care so much about, like this one, you can use it too. And it works a little better than the plastic. So does anybody have any guesses what kind of planet I'm making? Which planet? You can put them in the comments there. I have a lovely assistant. It's not an alien. It's my husband, Dallas, behind the camera today. So you might hear him shouting out some of your questions or your guesses for what planet I'm making. So I'm using lots of blue and green. Oh, we've got a guess. What does the guess say, Dallas?
Earth.
Earth. You're right. It is Earth, our lovely home planet. Now, my friends, when you're shaving your crayons, you're getting all these little tidbits. They don't need to fill up the whole wax paper like I was saying earlier, and you definitely don't want them to get too close to the edge. So every now and again, I'm just going to take my hands and kind of brush those little shavings in a little bit closer to the middle. Okay, now you really don't need too much, but I'm just going to do this a little bit longer, get a few more crayon shavings out there, but we're getting close to having enough here. Hope you guys have had a really fun Saturday. I've had a fun Saturday. I've got to get up early and watch a lot of my friends and the videos they've made for family night, listen to some great music by Louise Page. It's been a fantastic Saturday, and I hope you guys have had a really fun one too. So you will notice that the wax kind of gums up, especially if you're using a pencil sharpener. So just kind of scrape it out, and when you're done with this project, you probably want to clean it off really well. All right, so I've got some different kinds of blues, different kinds of greens. I want to make my earth really beautiful. And you can see my crayons are getting really sharp too. So this would be a good project when you're done with them. You can actually use them to make a drawing, whatever you don't use for this project. All right, so I think that's about good. And I'm gonna just make sure that they're a little bit closer to the center again. We don't want them too close to the edge. We don't want that wax to kind of leak out. So once you've got your wax paper, your crayon shavings, we're going to add another piece of wax paper. So just like before, I'm going to tear a little piece off. It's okay if they don't match. And I'm making kind of a sandwich here. So I've got wax paper, crayon shavings, and another piece of wax paper. Now we're to the part where we're going to iron them. So make sure you get a grown-up to help you with this step. I've had my iron heating up here. I've got it on low, so it's not too hot. And I'm going to press it onto this wax. You can probably hear my puppy. He's shaking. You can hear his collar jingling. So I'm going to just press it here onto the wax. Ooh, you know what, y'all? We're going to have to plug it in because it became unplugged. We don't know how that happened. So I'm going to let my iron heat up while I'm waiting for it to get hot. I'll just go ahead and add a few more crayon shavings. Then we'll just have even more colors. But you don't need it to get too hot, so just keep it on a low setting so it won't take very long to heat up. That happens to all of us, right? You think you've got everything together and then surprise. You gotta think on the fly. All right, so I can see that my iron is hot now because it's steaming. And when you press it onto the wax, you just do it for just a second and it will melt all that crayon. You can kind of see that it's already pretty much melted. I might go over it just one more time and kind of let it melt even better and kind of get all nice and gooey there in the center. But you don't want to hold it on for too long because it can absolutely get too hot and burn a hole through your wax paper. So just a little bit. Let it cool down before you touch it. But the good news is it doesn't take that long. And now you can see my wax is all kind of melted together and it made this really cool effect, right? So now I'm going to cut it into a circle shape because it's a planet. Now, if you don't have a paper plate and you're not making the frame today, you could actually do one of these for all of the planets. Okay, so make your biggest one your sun, and then just go from there. Mars and Earth, and all the awesome planets, and think about the colors that you would use. So I'm going to cut it into a circle, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing is perfect, right? But get your little circle there and you've got your planet. And you can make, like I said, as many of these as you want to, but because I want mine to be a little extra jazzy today, I'm actually going to make a frame for it. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. I'm going to set this to the side and I'm going to grab a paper plate. Okay, so I want to make a really cool frame that can go around this beautiful wax and just kind of show it off, and it'll make a hanger so that you can put it in your window. So for this step, I'm going to cut a circle out of the middle of my paper plate. I don't want to cut too much away from my paper plate because I want to leave some room to decorate, but I want enough that's going to show off that wax that we just made. So you can use either like a craft knife if you have that, or even like a hole puncher, but I'm just going to use this sharp pencil to get my circle started. So kind of towards the center there, I'm going to poke a hole just like that. Now that gives me a place to start cutting, and I'm going to cut a circle out of the center. So I'm going to slide my scissors in and just cut a circle out. Okay, just like before, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just do the best you can. We're going to cut kind of the middle out of our paper plate here. All right, so I've got my circle cut out, and now I'm ready to decorate. So I'm just going to grab some crayons. You can use these crayons that you already had out or get some other ones. You can use markers too. And I'm going to decorate around here. You could color it like blue and purple or black for a solar system, maybe rainbow. However you want to decorate it is just fine. But I'm going to get some blacks, some blues, some purples so that I kind of have that space theme. And I'm going to color this whole frame. Now, for y'all, oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes the puppies just gotta bark. They just hear something that sounds interesting outside and they gotta let us know about it. But while I'm coloring this, I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about family night. So if you've ever been to a family day or a family night at the Dixon, you know we don't have just one art activity, right? We have lots of things going on. And so if you go to our website, www.dixon.org/family night, you can find all different kinds of space-themed activities. So we have some PDFs of all different kinds of activities you can do. There's a musical performance. There are some videos from our community partners that you can go see at the Metal Museum, Pink Palace, WKNO, Centro Cultural, all kinds of really cool videos, activities, some snack recipes. My goodness, there's all kinds of stuff. So make sure that you go check that out. And you could even spread it out and maybe do one activity a day for 7 days and have a week-long experience, because all of those activities in this video and the other live video is all going to be on our website for quite some time. So you can go over there and enjoy. You don't have to feel like you've got to get it all done in one day. Now, if you guys have any questions about this project as we go, just type it in the comments.
You have one question.
Okay.
What is your dog's name?
Well, we have 2 dogs. My first dog's name is Clementine, and then we have another, like a German Shepherd mix named Oswald. So they are both characters for sure. What are y'all's dogs' names? Anybody have a dog or a pet? Want to share their names? I love hearing pet names. People get so creative. Okay, so I've got this all colored in, and I think next I want to add some stars. Now you could just color right on here, but I like to make it a little bit of a collage. So I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to color it yellow. that way I can cut out some stars for my plate. You can probably hear my puppy. She is getting really playful. All right, so I've colored my paper yellow here, and I'm going to cut some stars out. Now, I like to work a little smarter, not harder. Have you ever heard that saying before? So instead of cutting 4 stars out, I'm just going to fold my paper once and then one more time. And now I can cut out my star. Now, a star is kind of a hard shape. So if you can't cut out a star, then you can just do circles or hearts, or maybe you cut out all the other planets and you make a solar system. So like the center could be your sun, and then you could make little planets going around it like our solar system. That's a cool idea, right? All right, so I've got my stars. They're not perfect. That's okay. But I should have 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. We are ready to add them to our plate. Okay, so you can actually just glue them on if you have glue, or you can grab some tape and use that too. But I'm just going to add my stars somewhere here on my plate. 1, 2. And like I said, if you don't have paper, you don't have glue or tape, just draw them. That's fine too. But adding my little stars here. Okay. All right, so now for the fun part, we're going to add our Suncatcher to our plate. So I'm just going to turn it over to the back of the plate. This would really be the front of the plate normally, right, where the pattern is. And I'm going to tape this inside. Now, you can also use hot glue, or you could even use liquid glue and let it dry, but tape's just a little bit easier and quicker. So I'm going to grab my tape. And I'm going to tape this in, just a few pieces around the edge. All right. All right, it's looking good. The last thing we have to do is make a hanger. So I'm going to grab my hole punch. Now, if you don't have a hole punch, like we were saying before, you can use a sharp pencil just here near the edge, poke it through. But since I have a hole punch, why not go ahead and use it, right? So I'm going to decide where I want the top to be, slide my hole puncher to the edge of my plate, and poke a hole there. Now, I'm going to grab my string, and I'm going to thread it through. This part can get a little bit tricky, so you might need a grown-up to help you with this. Poke your string through here. Okay, and now I'm going to tie a knot on the other end. So I'm going to put those 2 pieces together. Okay, I'm going to make a loop, press it through, and pull it tight. Okay, so now I have a hanger. So that is the last step. And when you get to this step, you can hang it in your window. And it's going to let the light shine through, and you're going to have a really beautiful decoration that you can show off to all your friends and family. So my friends, I hope that you had fun making. And if you're proud of what you made, we'd love to see it. You can find the Dixon Gallery and Gardens on Instagram and use the hashtag #DixonAtHome, or Discover the Dixon. There it is. So Dixon at Home or Discover the Dixon. And you can share what you've made. So we'd love to see it. And make sure that you come back, because at 6 p.m. we have another live art class. It won't be with me, though. It will be with Miss Danielle, and she's going to show us how to make constellation telescopes. So it'll be really, really fun. And then at 7 p.m., we've got a story time with Mr. JT, one of his original stories. So make sure that you come back, watch that live video with Miss Danielle, check out our website for all the other activities. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great night.